I'm low-key also excited to not cover politics. Like the idea for All Gas No Brakes is I'm gonna take, instead of an RV, I'm gonna get an ambulance and hollow out the back and build like an editing and like soft white underbelly style studio where there's gonna be like a backdrop, and I'm gonna travel around and it's gonna be like character-driven, old school All Gas No Brakes style videos.
That's dope. But so how are you gonna manage doing both at the same time? It sounds
Dude,
difficult.
I mean, I have like 5 people working for me now. I'm building a news studio. We got correspondents in Mexico and the Middle East and New Zealand. So I'm trying to get like so many hard workers, kind of like you got here, to where you could step away for 10 days and it would still run itself.
Right. Yeah, because I noticed that's one of the biggest changes that you made is that a few months back, maybe 6 months at this point, you basically put out a call and said, if you want to cover current events in your city, in your area, et cetera, that I would like to hire you so that we can basically make Channel 5 work better, be better, et cetera. Because it's got to be extremely, it's like a natural throttle placed on how much content you can produce when you need to be there for every single thing. And I know what you're thinking at a certain point is like, I really don't have to be there. I don't have to be the one sticking a microphone in somebody's face. Like my presence doesn't necessarily define this content. So how has that worked out overall? Has it worked out as you expected?
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to go well, to be honest. I was like, we're going to dilute the authenticity of the brand if it's just a bunch of random people on there. But
those were definitely the concerns I had. Is like, this is going to be the biggest challenge that you've taken on.
Yeah, and I think our like biggest breakout video was Mexico City gentrification. Shout out to the homie Josue from Mexico City.
Right, that was a good one. Yeah.
He did that, and I was like, bro, this is overperforming.
Really?
If anything, people are tired of me.
You think?
Not in a way they don't like me, but they're excited to see a new face.
Right. No, I definitely went through that in like 2020 of sort of realizing like, oh, I can bring other people on.
Yeah.
And they might even be more popular than me at a certain point, which, you know, I don't think Joe Rogan has ever had that revelation. Like the whole thing is about him. But clearly we're both building things that at least aspire to be bigger than just one guy doing a podcast or whatever.
Joe Rogan doesn't have the same no jumper problem, which is that you hire people, they become personalities on the show, they start to resent the fact that they're second in command, they figure out how to engineer a mutiny, and the turnover kind of continues in a cycle. You know, that's the risk. I've dealt with it too.
Yeah,
that's kind of the risk you take when you put someone in the spotlight. Like a lot of people's egos just absolutely go bananas when they get some camera time, and they're like, I made it, I don't need to work for anybody else, I'm gonna be the man.
I feel like that was extra emphasized during the pandemic, where especially for us, like hip hop was booming, podcasting was booming, YouTube was booming, and so it felt like everybody was just doing so good, making so much. And now you fast forward 2025 and it's like things have cooled off to a certain extent, and I feel like the average content creator realizes that it's a little bit more difficult to run a full-time business just based off of talking on camera. But I've heard Joe Rogan like talk about how he has friends who have tried to like take them just doing a podcast and create more of a business and bring on all these different people. He's probably alluding to Your Mom's House with Tom Segura and shit. Because they've done that, and I've seen them have, you know, varying degrees of success where some people kind of kill it and some people he signs them and they just don't do very well at all. But you've created a business, which looks cool. If you have, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 different shows on your platform, that's dope. It makes you feel like you're doing something better, but you're not turning over profits at the same rate that you were when it was just you. And then meanwhile, you have all these new problems that you have to deal with. All these different employees, they could sue you. They could, you know, create mutinies like you're talking about. Like every single person you hire, there's at least some risk that that person is going to basically use this as an opportunity to smear you. And it quite often is kind of effective.
Yeah, and I'm building kind of an actual official workplace apparatus for the first time. And so I'm just now experiencing some of these problems for the first time, which is like, you know, not overworking people, you know, letting people, giving people like affirmation for doing the right thing. Because for me, it was just like I'd work 15 hours a day and nobody was like, hey, man, great job.
Right.
But now that you have employees, it's like you don't want to keep them for more than 8 hours. You want to give them, you know, gift cards to IHOP and, you know, scuba gear. Shit like that.
No, definitely, because you have to just be more of a person, you know. You have to like, I'm not someone who's ever really had a job, so it's kind of hard for me to understand like what a worker needs from me sometimes. So
you never worked at a restaurant when you were like 21, 22?
No, I was done having a job by the time I was 18, so I know what it's like to work as like the absolute bottom rung at the grocery store. But I never like I used to watch The Office and just really think like, holy like I missed out on this. Like if I kind of knew more about what this was like, then it would probably be really good for my understanding of the world.
Did you leave New Hampshire as soon as you turned 18?
I went to college in Massachusetts for 2 years, and then I moved to New York. So by 20, I was out of there.
You went to college in Boston?
Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh shit, Cambodians.
A lot of Cambodians.
That's all I know from the hood vlogs.
They will stab you.
They've been through a lot.
For real.
I would stab someone
and
too.
Long Beach out here is like the real stronghold of the Cambodians.
I got a DM yesterday from some Cambodian bloods in Stockton, and they said, you got to come for the Cambodian New Year.
Yep, they got that too.
And I said, shit, I'm down.
Damn. So, okay, because like when I look at my life versus your life, I'm like, this is part of the guilt that I feel is like, okay, I feel like I've created an environment for me, which, yes, I'm working long hours, but also it's kind of cushy because I'm going back to my house and I'm chilling. I have a kid. Having a kid feels like a big luxury to a certain extent because of the fact that I'm not on the road all the time. If I was in a band or if I was a traveling stand-up comedian or whatever and I had to be on the road 3-4 days out of the week, it feels like it would be much, much harder to have that going on. But then when I look at your shit, I'm like, he's just on go all the time. Like anything happens, you could just be in Colorado tomorrow if there was a big news story. Do you have any desire to fall back and have a little bit more of a comfortable lifestyle, or is your mentality like, no, I want to go harder. I want to like fight harder to make more and more better shit?
Well, it's actually, the answer is kind of like right in the middle. Back in the day, my work was crazy and my personal like party life was also crazy. Now I'm already on the chill domestic vibe. I got a girl. I have 4 dogs. We live up in like out in the valley, somewhere nice with some land. I don't go out and party like I used to at all. So like my work is getting crazier, but because I'm more relaxed at home. So when you create that dynamic where like the home base is totally quiet, meditative, but then in the field you can be like 10 times more savage. That's the way to do it. Before
Definitely.
it was like, I'd almost feel like my in the field reporting wasn't as fun or like stimulating as like my social life.
Do you look back on that? Like myself, even if it wasn't really like hard drugs for most of it, I look back at my life and I'm like, how the fuck was I doing all this shit, smoking that much weed and drinking, etc. And it's like, I was still managing to be extremely productive. But as a 40-year-old, I'm like, damn, like, why was I making it that hard on myself?
Yeah, no, and I see it now, especially like I'm 27, and I was talking to some homies even in their early 30s, and they were saying they were already having health problems. Like I had a homie be like, dude, my liver's already up, like my back is hurting, I'm having shin splints and all this stuff because they don't exercise, they drink all day, and they, you know, do other drugs too. And I was like, bro, I'm not that far away, I gotta relax.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's one thing that has made it harder for me to get into a super healthy mind state is when I think about it, like even the time periods in my life where I ate horribly, I never really like experienced any like hardcore like problems health-wise from it, but I definitely experienced health problems from like drinking too much. Like I remember going to the doctor and him telling me like, oh, you're averaging like 7 or 8 units of alcohol a night. Like that is really, that's bad.
Low numbers too.
Yeah.
I was just in El Paso covering some border shit, and I went to a bar called Mulligan Shot Bar, and more than half of the patrons at the spot were on a full shift. And that's when you're at the bar from open until close.
Really? And
like,
they confided that in you?
No, they were stoked about it. They're like, we're all about to hit a full shift right now. And the whole bar was like, yeah, it was like a Tuesday. And I was like, holy I don't want to be like that.
Dude, I'm just like, the idea of spending that much time in a bar is just, I don't know, it's kind of mind-blowing. Like, I just can't imagine how anybody would feel like they in any way were doing what they were supposed to be doing with their life.
Like, there's no way that you can walk away during closing call and be like, bro, I'd had a good day today.